Hey everyone, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday to you. This is Leslie Hasser with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, and we're coaching from the Carpool. I had to stop and ask myself what day it was today. Part of that reason is that it's been a really productive last couple of days. Today I had the pleasure of spending time with my mastermind business owners, and today was a bonus call. So we started off sharing wins and things that were going right in the business. And I gotta say, I'm in awe. It was such a uplifting call for 2 hours. We were actually on for 2 hours. So to hear the momentum that people are getting in their businesses, that my clients are getting in their businesses, one client was like, I love my business right now. I am so in love with my business. And I was like, yes, that is a good day. And to hear about the changes and everything that everybody is working on in the momentum, I think is one of the best things in the world for a business coach to hear is action and momentum and change and growth, and all of that is really good. And then, I actually had some strategic partners calls today. I was on the phone with Bank of America talking about a project that we're working on together for NABO, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. And then rounded things off with an insurance discussion, because it's business, right? So that's a busy day, even though it doesn't sound like I got a whole lot of things done. Got my book off to my chapter from yesterday off to my book editor, so that's an accomplishment. Well, I guess today's been a great day. I don't know if you take the time in your own business to actually talk about all the great things we do, but I think it's really important, and make sure we have those wins. This week, we've been talking about that elusive ideal client and really how to define them. Yesterday, I went over the 3 characteristics of any ideal client for whomever they are. Just as a recap, highlight, they're going to be people that you enjoy working with. Number one rule, you got to like them. Number 2 is it's people that know that they have a problem, right? And number 3 is people that are willing to invest. Now, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat, and that's my Texas saying, and evidently I have a lot of weird sayings, so pardon me for that, but I grew up with grandmother from West Virginia, Moundsville, West Virginia, and that's what I come to the table with. But today we're talking about ideal clients. And I mentioned to you yesterday that I have really 4 quadrants. When I'm working with a client, almost when I'm working with any client, I don't care if you're a startup or if you are, been in business for years. If you don't have this documented, I'm afraid I make you do your homework. There's reasons for that. Having these things documented is one of those measuring sticks that you put into your business that answers a whole lot of questions. Like, we don't have to guess. I want you to take the guesswork out of these things and get so much closer to hitting on target as many times as you can, that what we have to do in order to ensure that is a little bit of homework. So the ideal client and defining it is one of those areas that every business needs. Every business needs to be reviewing it at least once a year, because your client shifts and so do you. So you need to really have these things in writing. What I love, like, guys, this is really like, I call it the Bible. I feel like I'm saying like a lot today. I'll just pause. This is like a Bible that you are developing for your business. Imagine, if you could, that you had your ideal client so well documented that you could give this to your graphic designer and they would come up with something more spot on, that you could bring on a new employee and they suddenly know who they need to be looking for, what really motivates their clients, how they can go find them just by reading a document. That's kind of the power of this. A lot of times people, I think when we talk about ideal clients, you'll get something very broad. Well, I work with women entrepreneurs. And I'm like, well, that's great. So do I. It's not really, if you think about it, it's too broad. And so we want to try to narrow these things down. Now, you can't always, like, if I really went through my client definition, I'd probably bore you unless you were my ideal client. I you know so many nuances and details and things of that nature, and you can't possibly communicate all of them, but to know them is really invaluable and can shift your marketing, can tell you your marketing messages. It tells you what networking groups to go to. It tells you which marketing modes and mediums and methods you should be employing for that client. It really is one of these game changers and something you must have in your business. So if you don't, we're going to go into the details, all right? So today is all about what I would say are the more demographics, okay? So demographic, I should have looked up the term. I'll just give you my definition. But demographic really is all about what I think is as the nuts and bolts, the stats. You know, if they're male or they're female, what's their household income? What's their age? You know, what religion are they? What's their family makeup? All of those more fact-like information. So I have 9 that I'm going to go, and I'm going to show you. I think it reverses, so it doesn't, I don't know if it comes across readable, but these are the 9 that we're going to go through. It's a lovely little graphic I did for the book. I must say I'm pretty proud of it. But the first is age. Age is really important, and the one thing I want to say about age is if your age range is bigger than 10 years, it's too big, all right? You're not specific enough. It is possible for you to have multiple ideal clients. It is not possible for you to market to multiple ideal clients at the same time. You can't ride 2 horses. You have to pick one. So when I come into a business that actually does have multiple ideal clients, we try to get specific, because what you'll find is tomorrow when we talk about psychographics, there are different reasons, right? Maybe your demographic doesn't matter a whole lot. Maybe it does. But I want you to get no larger than 10. A lot of people say no larger than 5. I've been trying in my own window to get this number down, and I still, who comes in proves to me that it's 10. Okay, it's about 10 years. But if you're saying 30 to 50, not specific enough. Okay, I want you to get as tight as you can in there. So age is number 1. Religion is number 2. And what I will say here, guys, is I don't know that denomination's important. Maybe it is, right? Maybe you're in a faith-based community, and so a lot of your clients tend to be in the same faith-based community. Be knowledgeable about this, okay? It's not meant to be a discriminatory factor. It's meant to be an identifying factor. So if you know that there is one faith base that is very predominant for you and that makes sense for you, then go for it. If it just makes sense that they believe in God, then go for that. If it's agnostic, go for that. It doesn't matter what that definition is. It's just you want to know where that falls into priorities, because it is a massive value system for humans, okay? So know that about your client. Income matters, all right? Income matters in a couple of ways. If you think about, and this gets into this in a minute, about what people will spend. So if you have a high value, higher ticket price tag, you probably need people with a higher level of disposable income. There's this group that I think I learned it from Dan Kennedy, so I'm not going to own it, but it's called Henry's, right? And it's high earners, not rich yet. All right, that is that upper middle class, middle to upper middle class, to where they do have some disposable income, but they're very discretionary about the spending. Okay, knowing where the income brackets for people are in your ideal client actually knows how you can present the value. All right, there's a certain point in time to where time is a greater value than money for people. And then there's other times where people would rather save money and spend time. You need to know what that relationship is for your clients and be able to kind of pull it together. So income does matter. You'll find though that it, again, a $50,000 range, maybe you can get more specific. But if you're saying anyone above 100,000, again, you're getting too big of a group of people who have different ideals and different priorities than you would if you get, I'm looking for 100 to 150 or 125 to 175 or 25 to 75, whatever that range is. So I was like, keep it tight, okay? The next part is, where do they live? It matters. Are they rural or are they urban? Are they suburbanites that carpool in? Do they work for their home? Where is their locale? That has a lot to do with some values that they have. Plus, it gives a good indicator if they're trying to get the best value out of their dollar. Are they suburbanites and they want to, they want better value out of the real estate? These that see the value and save, you're like already suddenly you're learning what people's priorities are based on where they live. The second one is how they spend. It is so crucial. I will tell you that by and large, my clients are very cautious with their spending. All right. And that's okay. I'm kind of cautious with my spending. I get it. I'm frugal by nature. So it makes sense that I would attract people who have a little bit of frugality, right? For better or for worse in business. We can talk about spending money in business on another day. But knowing how your ideal client spends the income is really key to knowing some things. There are, let's say in this Henry bit, this Henry block of high earners, not rich yet. There tends to be 3 things they'll spend money on, like crazy. They'll buy the latest Apple iPhone, but they go to Walmart for socks and underwear. They'll go eat out at Capitol Grill, but they're mowing their own yard, right? It's that dichotomy that you'll see in some income brackets to where they'll spend the money for the experience or for what they've deemed as being important. And usually it's 3 categories, guys. You just have to figure out what those 3 categories are. And then they save on everything else. So if you're marketing to somebody or a group of people where you're not that one of those 3, it doesn't matter, right? They're not willing to pay. That was one of those ideal characteristics. So really think about, what are the 3 things that my clients will spend money on? What's cool about this? Opportunity, right? If you know, let's, for instance, that your people will spend money on travel, they'll spend money on your service, and they'll spend money on entertainment. Those 3 elements. Imagine the partners that you could find in the other 2 categories that could become great referral partners. Suddenly you're serving your client with what they'd like. So how they spend money is huge. Are they savers? Are they investors? All right? Do you need to teach them how to be an investor and not be absolutely focused on saving? There's a couple things. I will tell you, in business, that's one of the things I'm up against, or that I have to help share, is that saving money in business isn't always about not spending money in business, okay? That you have to be investing to look for a return on investment. Almost any of my financial services that people out there, we're preaching the same kind of communication there, right? So know how they spend the money and what kind of relationship they have. Know what their family is like, guys. Know how important and where their family is in their value systems. I think I've talked enough about this, or I know I'm talking about in my book, so I may be confused if I've said it to you here, or I've just thought it in my brain as I'm writing my book. Family is huge for my potential client, right? It's huge for me. It's above that. You've heard me do the quote from Mark Cuban that says, I can mess up my business any day of the week and I can start over, but I only get one chance with my family. That's a deciding value, right? And that's a very good indicator of who likes to work with me. There's a work-life balance that we're doing. I cannot tell you how many conversations I am having with working moms who own businesses, who know that their businesses can be bigger, but are choosing to stay where they are because of family. That's been me for a long time, guys, and I've actually decided to rewrite that story a bit and play with it and see just how big I can get and keep my family the way in priorities. So knowing what the family makeup is, number one. Is it 2 kids, 1 kid? Ooh, sorry about that. 2 kids, 3 kids, 5 kids, whatever it is. Knowing what that is. And then we come into industry and position. It really is, as humans, we tend to be around people like us. That's normal. We tend to try to find commonalities. That's normal. It's human nature. Okay, so chances are, if you know from an industry or a position that your people are at, you can start identifying where pools of these people are. All right, that's huge when it comes to finding out where you need to be. We'll work on. I'm trying to figure out a good example of this. But if I have somebody, let's say, that does event management, I actually want them to go to a facility managers meeting, right? Because many more of the building people are there, right? It's a one place, one-stop shop for everything. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't know industry and position and what they're doing. Goes into hobbies. Where do people spend their time, guys? Hobbies is one of the best outlets that people have. Or are they so busy they don't have a hobby, but they want one, right? Knowing this about that ideal client is really key. And then the last one is memberships. Like, where do they belong? High achievers tend to belong is one of these interesting things. So if you're a high achiever, what community is your ideal client involved in? By and large, belonging and community I see as being a strong desire. The more that we have this lovely thing called Facebook, the more that we have our lovely devices and all that accessibility that we get through technology, I think the more I see people craving connection and craving community. Even my introverted friends out there, you know who you are. I'm right there. Right? We're coming out of the woodworks and we're craving community. So knowing the communities that are really important to your ideal client is key for seeing opportunity that you have to find them. So that's today. That was 9. Hey, not too bad. 9 in about 12 minutes. I actually have it's a more lengthy document, but actually asks questions based on these 9 categories, okay? Just really so you can get clear and defined and know where to go to find your ideal client. That's it for today. My voice is a little dry. I think I need some throat coat. Maybe I'll do that before our Facebook Live for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to go into quadrant 2 of your ideal client, and that's really about psychographics. I will talk about, in some ways, why that is so important. More and more, it's as our lines are blurring in our identities, I think the psychographics are becoming more key to identifying who your ideal client is. And what I will say is, like, it's so funny when I tell people, well, I work with women entrepreneurs, yada, 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 rest of the spiel. And they're like, oh, do you not work with men? I'm like, actually, I do. 20% of my client base is male business owners versus female business owners. But you'll see that I just market to women business owners and I get other people involved. Well, the way that I get people involved is the psychographics. It's the message, it's the reasoning, it's the values. That is what attracts. You know, if I bring on a male client, 9 times out of 10, that's what's attracting them. So that's it for today. I hope that was helpful. If you heard me talk about the book today and you want to be a part of the behind the scenes kind of sneak peek and launch community where you get some preview some chapters, get to have fun with me on the cover design, that's going to be crazy, and then celebrate the work with me, that would be wonderful. If that's you, just type in #MyBizRules in the comments and I'll add you into that community. I am not spamming anyone or assuming that you want to be in there. So if you want to, you'll have to tell me you want to be in there to actually get access in. But then it's all about fun after that. That's it for today, guys. 3 o'clock on the nose. Thanks for bearing with me. It'll be about 10 minutes late today. I hope you're having a beautiful day because it's such a wonderful day. My name is Leslie Hassler. I'm with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, and this has been Coaching from the Carpool.